Welcome to Echoes of History. Imagine a sentinel, a silent, dark guardian orbiting our planet for 13 millennia. It precedes recorded history, predates the pyramids, and mocks our most advanced satellites. This is the legend of the BKS, so Black Knight satellite, a technological ghost said to have originated from a distant star, silently observing the rise and fall of human civilization. For decades, the story has captivated the public imagination, suggesting a unified, terrifying secret kept hidden in the vacuum of space. But what if the satellite is not a single object? What if the legend is merely a patchwork of confusion, paranoia, and misinterpretation, expertly woven together across a century? Today we shed the cloak of conspiracy. We are embarking on a historical investigation that is ruthless, realistic, and unbiased. Our mission is to apply forensic science and critical chronology to the Black Knight, revealing not an alien machine, but the true story of how human anxiety and flawed science constructed one of the world's most enduring myths. The legend's first whisper can be traced to the incandescent mind of Nikola Tesla, a man whose genius often bordered on the prophetic. The year was 1899. From his laboratory high in the clear atmosphere of Colorado Springs, Tesla reported capturing strange, rhythmic radio signals. He believed unequivocally that he had intercepted a message from Mars or another intelligent civilization. This was the first seismic crack in the official narrative of isolation, the very first historical thread of the Black Knight. However, the reality of radio waves in 1899 was far more ambiguous. Tesla's equipment was highly sensitive, designed to push the boundaries of science. While his detection was genuine, the most realistic explanation today points to natural phenomena, possibly even powerful radio emissions originating from Jupiter. Tesla's interpretation, while inspiring, was shaped by his singular vision of the cosmos. The second crucial thread arrived in the 1920s, during the infancy of global communication. Across the ocean in Norway, radio engineer Jürgen Hals reported a baffling auditory anomaly, delayed radio echoes or DLS. Transmitted radio pulses would return to the receiver several seconds later, long after the signal should have dissipated. In the vacuum of explanation, speculation took root. How could a signal travel across the Earth and return with such a precise delay? The theories grew. Could some unknown object, a non-human satellite, be receiving, amplifying, and rebroadcasting our own transmissions? The concept of a silent, orbiting machine was born. The unbiased scientific community eventually pointed toward rare natural occurrences, specifically unusual plasma effects high within the Earth's magnetosphere. But by then, the two threads, Tesla's initial signals and Hals's puzzling echoes, were irrevocably linked in the public imagination, retroactively creating a single ongoing narrative of an ancient surveillance object. The whispers of the 1920s exploded into full-blown panic during the Cold War. On October 4, 1957, the launch of the Soviet satellite Sputnik 1 did more than orbit the Earth. It shattered Western confidence and plunged the globe into an intense period of space anxiety. The skies instantly became a battleground of political and technological supremacy. It is in this hyper-vigilant atmosphere that the Black Knight myth was permanently codified. In early 1957, before Sputnik, several global news outlets reported tracking an unknown satellite, an object that was neither American nor Soviet. The object was reportedly tracked by naval intelligence and amateur astronomers. The reports, magnified by the era's paranoia, instantly suggested a massive, advanced, and likely hostile piece of technology. The Cold War needed enemies, and when the Earth failed to provide them, the imagination looked to the heavens. The initial frenzy was likely sparked by simple misidentification. In the frantic rush to track every piece of debris and every new satellite, errors were inevitable. Astronomers were tracking objects that were, in reality, components of newly launched rockets or fragments of meteorites. Furthermore, the very name Black Knight likely originated from the British Black Knight rocket program, a conventional terrestrial military initiative of the 1950s. Through a blend of journalistic sensationalism and public conflation, the name of a legitimate secret rocket became inextricably linked to the mysterious, unidentified objects orbiting the planet. The realistic conclusion of the 1950s thread is that the Black Knight satellite myth was officially launched not from an actual discovery, but from the fertile ground of geopolitical fear, transforming misidentified data into an enemy artifact. For decades, the BKS remained an auditory and conceptual legend. It lacked visual proof. That changed decisively in December 1998, when a NASA space shuttle mission provided the visual anchor that launched the legend into the digital era. The mission was STS-88, the critical first assembly flight for the International Space Station, ISS. Astronauts captured clear, high-resolution photographs of a strange, dark, asymmetrical object floating near the newly assembled components. For the millions who believed this was it, here was the smoking gun, a picture of the 13,000-year-old alien sentinel finally revealed by the agency that tried to hide it. However, the ruthless deconstruction of this iconic image is perhaps the simplest truth of the entire legend. The object in the photographs was swiftly and definitively identified by NASA at the time: a lost thermal blanket. During an extravehicular activity, EVA, conducted by astronauts Jerry L. Ross and James H. Newman, a thermal blanket intended to cover a docking mechanism was accidentally detached and floated away. This lightweight, multi-layered fabric, tumbling violently in the weightlessness of orbit, perfectly explains the object's strange, skeletal, and non-metallic appearance. It was not a massive, ancient satellite. It was space debris discarded by humans just hours before the photograph was taken. This final crucial event, the lost thermal blanket, was immediately integrated into the previous two historical threads. The myth was now complete, unified, and tragically entirely false. Tesla heard the signal, the military tracked the object, and NASA finally photographed the ancient alien satellite. The unbiased truth of the Black Knight satellite is that it never existed as a single, coherent entity. It is a spectacular example of how human perception, fueled by fear and technological gaps, excels at building grand mysteries from mundane, unrelated facts. The three threads that constitute the BKS legend: firstly, the signal, easily explainable radio and atmospheric anomalies; secondly, the tracking, Cold War paranoia and misidentification of debris; thirdly, the photograph, an unfortunate floating thermal blanket. The power of this myth lies not in its evidence, which is non-existent, but in the human tendency to connect those disparate dots into a comforting, spectacular narrative, a tendency far more powerful than the pursuit of scientific clarity. The echoes of history shows us that the truth about space is challenging, demanding physics and skepticism. The fiction, however, is easy to consume. The true story of the Black Knight satellite is a profound lesson in media literacy and critical thinking. It is a historical phantom created by the perfect intersection of Cold War anxiety, media sensationalism, and the misinterpretation of scientific data. There is no ancient sentinel watching us from orbit, but the persistence of the BKS legend serves as a constant reminder that humanity's deepest need is often not for the truth, but for the thrill of the unknown. Echoes of History confirms that the mystery, once dismantled, reveals a truth that is less dramatic than fiction, but infinitely more valuable: the enduring power of scientific skepticism. If you appreciate this objective, scientific dismantling of historical legends, please like this video, subscribe to Echoes of History, and engage in the critical discussion below.